Let's be real for a second. For most of your life, money has probably felt like this secret language, right? A game that all the adults are playing where the rules are totally hidden. But what if I told you that game has a cheat code?
Yeah, you see it everywhere, you know it's a big deal, but it feels like nobody ever just sits you down and explains how it actually works. It can be super confusing and honestly kind of intimidating.
Well, that's what we're going to do today. This is your guide, your official cheat sheet to cracking that code. We're going to break down all the big, confusing ideas so you can not only understand the game, but start figuring out how to win it.
So, our whole journey has to start at the very beginning, the moment money actually hits your hands for the first time. Yep, let's talk about that very first paycheck.
Okay, picture this. You absolutely crushed it all month at your job. You get that email saying you've been paid $2,000. Awesome, right? But then you check your bank account and there's only $1,456. It seriously feels like you've been robbed. So where in the world did the rest of it go?
It went to something called taxes. Now, listen, nobody loves paying them, but here's the deal. Taxes are basically the membership fee we all pay for living in a functioning society. It's the money that paves the roads, builds the schools, and even pays the health inspectors who make sure that taco truck is safe to eat from. And the government takes its cut in a few different ways. You've got income tax on the money you earn, sales tax on the stuff you buy, and later on, even taxes on money your investments make. The big ones you'll see sliced out of your paycheck are Social Security and Medicare. And you can just think of those as the government forcing you to put a little money aside for your future self, for retirement and healthcare, way down the road. Okay, so after the government gets its piece of the pie, you gotta have a place to put what's left. And the obvious answer is a bank. Most of us just picture a bank as this giant, super secure vault, right? Just a big safe guarding our cash. But that's not really the whole story. Here's a way better way to think about it. A bank is less like a security guard and more like a financial matchmaker. Seriously, their main job isn't just to hold your money. It's to connect people who have extra money, that's you, the saver, with people who need to borrow money. And this is how it works. Let's say you deposit $1,000. The bank is legally required to keep a small piece of it, just a fraction, on hand, say $100. But the rest of it, the other $900, they lend it out to someone else who wants to, buy a jet ski or start a business. This whole system, this engine that keeps the economy moving, is called fractional reserve banking. Now, you might be thinking, wait a second, my money isn't even there? But don't worry. In the US, the government has this thing called the FDIC, and it insures your deposits up to $250,000. So even if the bank makes a bunch of bad jet ski loans, your money is safe. All right, so now that your money is safely in the system, let's look at these two incredibly powerful forces that can either make it grow or make it shrink. We're talking about two sides of the very same coin, interest and credit. Interest is a total double-edged sword. When you're in debt, like on a credit card, it's your absolute worst enemy. It's this extra cost that just keeps growing and growing. But when you're saving or investing, interest is your best employee. It works for you 24/7 to make you more money. No breaks, no vacations, no sick days. And here's where it gets really dangerous on the debt side of things. If you don't pay off your balance, you start paying interest on top of your interest. That's called compounding. And all of a sudden, like this quote says, that $12 burrito you swiped your card for can turn into a $50 regret. So, how do lenders decide how much interest to charge you, or if they'll even lend to you at all? Well, they have a secret weapon. It's a 3-digit number that basically acts as your financial reputation. It's your credit score. This one number, somewhere between 300 and 850, tells lenders how trustworthy you are with money. If you have a low score, you're pretty much a walking red flag, which means you'll get higher interest rates and have a tough time getting a loan. But a high score? You're sparkling with adult credibility, and lenders will be lining up to give you their best deals. So what's the secret to getting a good score? Well, it's actually not a mystery at all. Look at this. The biggest piece of the pie, over a third of your score, is just your payment history. Do you pay your bills on time? That's it. And the next biggest piece is how much of your available credit you're using. See? It's a game, but the rules are right here, totally clear. Okay, now it's time to zoom out, because your personal finances don't just exist in some little bubble. They're tied to this giant roller coaster that we all ride called the economy.
You ever notice how movie tickets keep getting more expensive? Or a bag of chips seems to be more air than chips these days? That's inflation. Think of it like a silent thief that's slowly making your money less valuable. Your $5 bill is, yeah, still $5, but over time, it just buys less stuff.
Now, a little bit of inflation, around 2%, is actually pretty normal and even healthy for an economy. It's when it gets too high that we have a problem. It's like a really great party suddenly ending. The music stops, the lights come on, and people start losing their jobs. That's when we can tip over into a recession, which is a period where the whole economy actually shrinks.
Okay, wow. We've talked about taxes, banks, interest, credit, the whole economy. That is a lot. But just knowing stuff is useless without action. So how do you actually take all this information and use it to win the game?
The number one weapon you have against that silent thief, inflation, is investing. This is the big mindset shift. Instead of just trading your time for money, you start making your money trade itself for more money. You can do that by buying stocks, which are just tiny little slices of ownership in a company, or bonds, which are basically you loaning money to a government or a big business.
And look, I get it. Investing sounds risky. The market goes up, the market goes down. But this is so important. The guaranteed loss you will take from inflation over your lifetime is a much, much bigger danger than the temporary ups and downs of the market. The biggest risk of all is doing nothing. We have covered some seriously powerful forces today. We're talking taxes, compound interest, huge economic cycles. But there is one asset that you have right now that is more valuable and more powerful than any of them. Any guesses what it is?
It's time. As a young person, time is your single greatest financial superpower. It's the secret ingredient that lets compound interest work its magic. The earlier you start, even with just a little bit, the more powerful your money can become. And I want you to remember this. Building wealth isn't about some get-rich-quick scheme or picking one lucky stock. It's about patience. It's about consistency. It's about playing the long game. Because real lasting wealth isn't built in a few days. It's built slowly over decades. And your decades, they're just getting started.